JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. We're watching a clip of First Things First, talking about the Dallas Cowboys. You can see, well, it's a little bit harder because since it's paused, Stephen Jones, we don't define all in by what you spend in free agency, because I think Jerry said it, that we're all in this offseason or into next season. We're all in, like, let's go. And now the free agency, they haven't done anything really. And, they're obviously making some moves, but not like we see other teams doing. For instance, why didn't the Dallas Cowboys get Hollywood Brown? Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they make a play for Saquon? Why are they not doing some of these things that a lot of these other teams are doing to make their teams significantly better? The Bears are getting better. The Texans are getting better. Heck, the Commanders are getting better. The Chiefs are getting better. They're the Super Bowl champs and they're getting better. Every team, the Eagles, every team, all of these competitive teams, well-run teams, relatively speaking, not the Commanders, are getting better. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys, who were supposed to be this great team, winning 12 plus games 3 years in a row. Let's go. Won the division, gonna make it to the Super Bowl or bust. Let's go. And then they got walloped by the Packers. That's supposed to make you say, okay, we need to make some moves here. And they're not. They're just not. Take a look at the Eagles. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl, lost, had another season that was a big disappointment for them. And they cleaned house. They said, get the heck out of here. Got rid of the DC. Got rid of the OC. Made plays and got a legitimate OC. A legitimate, highly respected DC. Who pretty much is responsible for all of the defenses in the NFL right now. The way how it's all run. Went out and got Saquon. Went out and got, more help on defense. They made concrete specific moves. They didn't just say, well, this was just a down year. We still believe in Jalen and, and everyone else, and AJ Brown, let's go. They didn't do that. They said, no. We have a reputation. We have a culture. We care. We want to win. We are all in every single season. We don't even have to say we're all in because we're always all in. How could you not be all in? We're the Chiefs. We're the Eagles. We're the whatever. Like, we want to win every single year. Let's go. And then you have the Cowboys, who are pretty good. Jerry Jones and company are pretty good at building a good team, a solid team, a team that is consistently competitive, right? They are not the Giants. They are not the Commanders. They are not the Browns. They are not the Bills prior to Josh Allen, So the Cowboys build consistently good, solid, competitive teams, but nowhere near good enough to legitimately win, to legitimately make the NFC Championship game, win the NFC Championship game, get to a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl. Think about it. If you're a Cowboys fan, at what are you actually going to be happy with at this point? Are you even going to be satisfied making an NFC Championship game? Are you going to be happy? Is that actually going to be satisfying to you at this point? Because at this point, you've been waiting. It's been like, we got to get to the Super Bowl, we got to win, and you haven't even been to an NFC Championship game in decades. Is that even going to be satisfying? Like, if you and Dak can get to the NFC Championship game, but then you lose to the 49ers, you're going to be okay with that? You're like, well, it was a great year. We finally made the NFC Championship game. I don't think so. If Dak Prescott doesn't make a Super Bowl, or if Dak Prescott doesn't win a Super Bowl, or at the very least make a Super Bowl, how is that not an epic disaster? An epic failure? Because then it's like, what are you doing? You've just wasted. Either Dak is not good enough to get you there, then you should have moved on from him years ago. Or if he was good enough, how did you not either coach or build a team that could get to the Super Bowl? Either way, it's a failure then. And the way how it's been shaping up, Dak only has so many more years left, honestly. I'm not saying that he's an old man and he's done next year, but you're not getting him for cheap anymore. He's getting top dollar, and Lord knows he keeps trying to milk it as much money as he possibly can. So you're only able to get so many good players around you. Even Patrick Mahomes is out there taking pay cuts, and the dude's obviously already won 3 Super Bowls. And so this is what I always say. You want to pay him more than Patrick Mahomes, and he's not as good as Patrick Mahomes, yet you want him to win like he's Patrick Mahomes. That is not how math works. hate to break the news to you. So, if you're a fan, I don't know how you can't be so bummed, honestly. And I actually genuinely feel your pain. I honestly really do. I'm obviously an Eagles fan. I'm an Eagles fan, love the Eagles, and I love rooting against the Cowboys. But I still have a lot of respect. I really like Dak a lot. I respect the organization. Through this channel, I've gotten to know a lot of Cowboys fans, and there is a lot of mutual respect, and so I enjoy it. And I want the Cowboys to be competitive. I don't want the Cowboys to be like the Giants or the Commanders, honestly. That's not fun. Playing the Giants and the Commanders is not that fun of a game for me. It's when the Eagles do. Like it's really like, okay, great, wow, we beat the Commanders. What did he do? It honestly means nothing. And I feel like the Cowboys fans have to feel that way too. It's way more fun if you're a Cowboys fan and the Cowboys beat the Eagles over the Giants or the Commanders. And the same thing for Eagles. It's so much more fun to have the Eagles beat the Cowboys. So I want both those teams, obviously, to be good. It makes it fun. It's competitive. It's fun if I'm rooting against the Cowboys and they still eke out a win and I'm all angry about it. It's entertainment. If they just lost every single game, it's like, well, who cares? They suck. That's not fun to me. Not to mention, I know you're really a passionate fan base and you want your team to do good. You want to win. You want to be competitive. And so if you're sitting back right now and you're seeing all these teams making big moves, aggressive moves, and smart moves, it's not like people, it's not like the Chiefs had to pay $40 million for Brown. They're not overpaying here or making these crazy moves or mortgaging the entire future. They're making good strategic moves. And then there's the Cowboys. And it's like, if all other teams are getting better and the Cowboys aren't, why do you think you're going to have a better result than you did last season? I just don't see it. So let's see what Nick has to say. Break it down.
Time to worry for Cowboys fans.
No, the time to worry is going to be when you see the Dak contract numbers. Like, what they're doing in free agency is fine. It's like, oh, they should have signed Christian Wilkins. Well, yes, a lot of teams in the league would have been good. Mm-hmm. It would have been good for them to add one of the best young defensive tackles in football, but that's why you got $110 million. They're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb. They're going to have to pay Micah Parsons. Yeah. Like, that is baked in. They already paid Diggs. But when Kirk Cousins, at 35, with a ruptured Achilles, is worth $45 million a year and $100 million guaranteed, because he hit free agency. And Dak Prescott's agent is able to sit there and be like, we don't need the extension. What Dak Prescott would have to quit the sport. No, Kirk Cousins just proved to us. No, there is no injury you can suffer as a quarterback that if you hit free agency, you don't shatter the market. And I understand Kirk didn't shatter the market, but given his age, his production, all of it, the fact that he now makes as much per year as Patrick Mahomes, the exact same amount, $45 million. So when you see the Cowboys have to sign Dak Prescott to a 3-year, $180 million extension, that is $150 million guaranteed, that's when it'll be time to panic, because that's the train that's coming down the tracks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a good point that I didn't think about originally, because I see Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott as similar quarterbacks. And I've said this a lot of times, and it's just that Dak Prescott's just cooler, He's younger, he's hipper, Kirk Cousins kind of has more of the image of just like, a statue, nerdy white guy, like a white quarterback. And Dak Prescott's cool and, Nike and this or that. And he's just more smooth at the mic. And he's just younger. So he's going to connect more with fans in that regard. And he plays for the Dallas Cowboys, obviously, right? Gigantic star on the helmet. And he's in all the commercials, the Sleep Number commercials, which are kind of cheesy. And he's a terrible actor, which is why Baker Mayfield's actually a pretty good actor. But anyway, I digress. But they're very similar numbers if you really compare the numbers. Kirk Cousins gets a lot of hate and Dak Prescott gets overinflated. But I will say this, that there is that feeling of get your money while you can, and you don't want to risk an injury. And that has then slightly given the leverage to the team, or it's kind of balanced it out a little bit, because they're like, hey, we know you want this money. You want this contract. You're unwilling to play on a, 1-year contract or what have you. So we, it just ends up kind of being a somewhat bargaining chip, where if you're a player like a Dak Prescott, you're more willing to maybe take slightly less, because you're like, I want the long-term security. That way, if I get injured, it doesn't matter. I'm good. I'm protected. But like as Nick highlighted, with Kirk Cousins tearing his Achilles, which is obviously at the top of the list of injuries that no player wants to have and that could theoretically be career ending or career altering, not unlike there's only so many other injuries at that point where you're really like, I don't know if this player will ever play again, especially at least at this time in 2024 with, medical advancements. But with Kirk Cousins also being old and getting that injury and still being able to get the amount of money that he got, what that signals to Dak is, bro, you could literally get a horrific injury right now. And yet teams are still going to pay you money. First off, you're way younger than Kirk Cousins. So one, your body's going to heal better. Two, you have longer tread on your tires, ideally, hopefully. And then three, like, you're going to get paid. Look, Kirk Cousins got this money. There's no reason to believe why you wouldn't. Unless the only way you wouldn't is if there was like this insane quarterback class where there was like 10 quarterbacks. They're all getting drafted 1 through 10 and they're all studs, which obviously is not, maybe 1 year that'll happen, but I don't think, oh God, I don't think I'll ever live to see it. Hold on 1 second. Technical difficulties. I got all excited. That's pretty funny. But anyway, so I don't think, that really signals to Dak right now, hey, like I have more leverage now because one, I'm not as afraid to play on a 1-year deal with one, I don't need this extension. I'm going to get paid. The risk is that if he does get injured, and I don't think this will happen, maybe he will only be able to command a Kirk Cousins type contract of $45 million or maybe a little bit more 50, where if he does this long term right now and he doesn't get injured, he can then get the $60 million contract. So that's technically the risk, but I think a lot of people would say even if Dak tore his Achilles, which is a big if, obviously a gigantic if, what are the odds of that? Then if he did have to sign another contract with another team or even with the Cowboys, he would probably get still 50, 55. Like he might not get that top 60 or whatever, he would be looking for, but he would still get within that ballpark. So then it becomes potentially, not as much of a gamble because again, at the end of the day, I really don't know how much of the difference is if you're getting paid $55 million versus $60 million. Based on all the wealthy people that I know, it doesn't matter. You don't feel it. You don't even notice it. They become rounding errors. Like it just is nothing. So it is always interesting. I don't have any personal direct experience with making $55 or $60 million. So if you have, definitely let me know. But yeah, if you're a Cowboys fan, it's not so much that I would be worried. I would be bummed, honestly. I would just be genuinely bummed. And again, speaking as an Eagles fan, whether I think the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl next year, which I'm not predicting, and whether I think they're going to tear off and win 13 games and be this unstoppable force, at the very minimum, there's optimism, there's hope, there's excitement. You're like, all right, obviously I was not happy how this past season ended, but you know what? They're making moves, they're trying, and that's all I ever care about is actually effort and trying. That is all Philadelphia, and Jason Kelce said it best. He said that essentially, saying that the fans are really passionate, but at the end of the day, all they care about is that you care as a player, that the player themselves actually care and try their best. It's not a matter of you need to succeed. The Philadelphia Eagles, the fans absolutely love Donovan McNabb to the core. Donovan McNabb never won a Super Bowl, but they absolutely love him because they know that he cared, that he tried, that he went so hard. Same thing with T.O. T.O. still gets all the love, and T.O. himself has talked about that. His favorite fan base is the Philadelphia Eagles because we know how much he loved Philly and how much he loved to play. And when he got injured, he worked so hard. He was doing things that no one had ever heard of at the time to try to get back. He did everything he could to get back to the Super Bowl. So as a fan, I really identify with it. I never want to feel like I care more than you, more than the coach, more than the players, more than, whoever, the front office. So if you're a Cowboys fan and you're seeing this all unfold, I just don't know how you can feel excitement, optimism, hope. And so I do feel the pain for that. I really genuinely do. So, hopefully they do something. But as of right now, I just don't even know what the options are. And quite honestly, okay, so that's to win the NFC. San Francisco is number 1, Detroit number 2, and Dallas is number 3. I just think that's comical. I think that's laughable. To think that the Cowboys have the 3rd best chance is hilarious to me. I mean, that's like, I don't know if they just over inflate Dak or what, but I mean, I actually find that kind of shocking, but those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really, really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.